morning, everybody, and welcome to Undisputed Live from Los Angeles. I'm Jen Hale, here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe joining
Hi,
us
Jen. How are you?
from Atlanta. I'm fabulous. How about yourself?
Oh, look who's still hiding from me. He's hiding from me in Atlanta in his little box.
Hey, Skip, how I look at the monitor? Am I looking good today?
You got that big inflated ego head that's a little larger than usual, but that's okay. But I believe you're still in Atlanta because you feared the worst in Game 5 in Toronto, and you feared the worst in Game 6 back at Oracle. So you're in hiding, and it's okay with me. Just stay there. You can stay there next week.
Because I already know what's going to happen when Kawhi do what he does tomorrow night. I don't want to see you. I don't want to be around you on Friday because it's not going to be a pretty sight.
Okay. Well, let's talk about what he did to me a year ago. That's what I want to talk about.
You're not bitter at all.
Not at all.
Shannon will be back next week, and we can settle up the due situation. So let's start this morning with Kevin Durant. He suffered that devastating Achilles injury Monday night. ESPN reports KD flew to New York to undergo an MRI instead of heading back to the Bay with the team. Now, Kawhi Leonard dealt with his own injury, of course, a quad last season with the Spurs. The Claw played just 9 games with San Antonio because of that injury before getting traded to Toronto. After Game 5, Kawhi gave his thoughts on what KD is going through. Let's take a listen.
It's devastating, you know. Like you say, you work so hard to get to this point. You know, these are the last games. You see he tried to come out and, you know, push himself. But, you know, obviously, you know, he tried to do a move. And, you know, I feel bad for him, you know. I've been in that situation before. I hope he, you know, has a speedy recovery and, you know, just gets healthy and hope that he's going to be okay mentally just throughout the whole rehab process.
Kawhi's injury somewhat controversial, but Shannon, how similar do you think these two situations are?
I think they're very similar. I think the thing is that what Kawhi did is that Kevin Durant didn't do is that he got a reprieve because even though the doctor cleared him, he didn't feel comfortable, Skip. He did come back. He played because he's missed the start of the season. He came back, played 8 games. He didn't feel quite right. He sat out a couple of games, played one more game, went and got a second opinion, and then shut it down for the rest of the year. The thing that happened with Kevin Durant is I don't know for certain, and like I said, I don't have any inside information, Skip, whether or not Kevin Durant got a second opinion. But he did not get the reprieve that Kawhi Leonard got because even though Kawhi played those 8 games, he didn't do any more damage. He didn't completely rupture the quad. Kevin Durant didn't get that reprieve. Kevin Durant went out there when he wasn't 100% after getting clearances from the doctors, and we all believe that he ruptured an Achilles that was already probably partially torn. And so these situations are very, very similar. And Kawhi saying, I understand what he's going through. See, Skip, for me, it comes down to as simple as this. If the Warriors were up 3-1, would they have put Kevin Durant on the court? If they can answer that no, then he shouldn't have been out there to begin with. Because what you have to realize is that the Golden State Warriors are still a business. This is about a transaction. And so they monetize or they prioritize their number one goal, their number one priority, which is to win the championship over Kevin Durant's health. And see, a team will never tell a player, you will play tomorrow, you will do this. But they know once you get to that level, be it professional baseball, basketball, or football, they appeal to the competitive side. They'll appeal to the brotherhood, Skip. Skip, you know why they got on that plane to come see you, KD. You understand that you're the best player on this team. You understand, they understand that they can't win without you. That appeals to Kevin Durant. Because, Skip, remember, he gets into it a lot of times when guys question him. Also, it was reported that some of the executives in that organization, some of the players in that organization, had questioned Kevin Durant. Skip, what causes Kevin Durant to snap back on social media? Was some kid from Iowa or Minnesota says, Kevin, you a sucker. You supposed to be the best player, and you jump on board with the Golden State Warriors after they won 73 and went 73-9. So now you appealing to the man's competitive side. You're like, I ain't no sucker. I'm tough. Because all the time, Skip, this is a machismo. Basketball, football, it's about bravado. I'm better than you. So you appeal to that side to get them to go. Skip, that man was not even close. It was reported that his workout session went terrible. Before I turn over to you, Skip, I dislocated my arm my first year back in Denver. I think it was 2002. I missed about 4.5 weeks. And so they said, okay, I got cleared. The arm felt good. Skip, what I did is that they had a guy on the practice squad, a linebacker. We padded it up, and we went out there on Tuesday, which is normally the guy's day off, before I even practiced on Wednesday in order for me to play on Sunday. Now, I don't know the protocol in basketball, but normally, did they do Boogie Cousins like that? Did they say, Boogie, you're going to practice tomorrow and you're going to play the next day? Or did they give Boogie an opportunity? Did Boogie practice what? 5, 10, 15, 20 practices before they ultimately put him out there. You see where I'm going with this, Skip? But in actuality, when you look at Kawhi, when you look at KD, the only difference is that Kawhi got really, really smart. He got a second opinion, and that doctor told him to shut it down, and that's what he did.
You finished?
I'm done.
Good. Jen, is the show over yet? I don't know. I haven't
You got a
spoken
few-
yet.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, okay. Now it's my turn. Oh, okay. Thank you.
You always do. You always do that.
This topic angers me more by the day. And what that man, that guy number 2 who used to play for my San Antonio Spurs, had the audacity to say about what he did in San Antonio compared to what happened to Kevin Durant is completely out of bounds and completely over my edge, because it's sending me over the edge. So I got 2 big points here, and the second one I'm going to throw right back in your face. But first of all, just to reiterate, what this man did a year ago to my Spurs was, it started out as a thigh bruise, and it lingered to the point that the most conservative and patient medical staff in all of sports, San Antonio's, finally gave in just to appease number 2 and his outside opinion doctor and his outside opinion physical therapist that had nothing to do with the Spurs. They appeased him by tagging it tendinosis, or what is that? I don't even know what it was.
Tendinosis.
Some weird term that I hadn't heard of to that point. And it indicated there was some inflammation of the quadriceps tendon, that it wasn't just musculature, that it went into the tendon, which I never believed, because no San Antonio doctor ever believed that. And I'm going to say this one more time just because he brought it up, comparing his situation to Kevin Durant's. I spoke to a doctor who told me he had examined that guy, number 2, back in San Antonio, and he said, I could find nothing wrong, that it was all in his head. But this tendinosis, or whatever it was, lingered into January to the point that it forced the San Antonio Spurs, the most player-friendly organization in all of sports, to finally call out this guy publicly by saying, hey, we have completely cleared him for all basketball activities. And what did he do? He shut it down. He threw it right back in their faces by saying, I'm still hurt, I can't play. And then it became clear that his uncle Dennis had taken over all of his basketball affairs, all of his business affairs, and it became very clear through lots of reports from lots of national reporters that Uncle Dennis wanted him out of San Antonio, either in New York or New Jersey or Brooklyn or in LA. And because of that, he shut it down for 73 games, which finally forced the hand of 2 potential future they're cinch Hall of Famers, Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, to call a team meeting and put him on the hot seat and say, are you with us or not? This was in late March, just as the playoffs were looming, and they thought they had a chance to make a deep run, maybe even get to the finals. And I'm sure in the meeting he probably said nothing, because he rarely says anything, and they interpreted that as a no. And Tony Parker, God bless him, he's now retired. He just recently retired, as you know. Tony Parker, who has 4 rings.
Years ago.
What's that? Oh, he retired a couple of years ago?
He retired a couple of years ago.
He was a finals MVP, and he's got 4 rings, and he made way more fourth-quarter clutch shots than this guy will ever dream of making. Yes, he did. You have no idea. You never watch my Spurs because you dismiss them as broccoli, and you don't eat broccoli. I eat broccoli every day. Chicken and broccoli every day, twice a day. That's what I subsist on. That's what you should do. The point is that Tony Parker had ruptured his quadriceps tendon the year before that in the playoffs against Memphis. And he called out this guy by saying, and I quote, "My injury is 100 times worse than his." 100 times. And that's exactly right. That frames it. The Hall of Famer Tony Parker said, "My injury is 100 times worse than his," and that's all you needed to know. And obviously, that was the final nail in the coffin for